Okay, so this is the questionnaire that I made myself, and I handed it out to 10 people that I knew, of all different age ranges. The first question says, what sort of characters do you expect to see in a film noir or detective film? Question 2, what sort of props do you expect to see in a film noir or detective film? Question 3, what sort of storyline do you expect it to be? Please tick chosen box. Number 1, simple, easy to understand. Number 2, fairly simple with a few twists here and there. Number 3, quite complicated, have to watch it a few times to understand. Question 4, where do you expect the film to be set? Please tick chosen box. Number 1, a small town or village. Number 2, a big city. Number 3, if other, please explain. Question 5, please write other comments about what interests you about film noir and detective films. Okay, so I simply just sent out this questionnaire just to get feedback on what people find interesting in detective films. I wrote at the top film noir / detective films, as I know that not many people would actually fully understand what a film noir type of film is. And a film noir is basically sort of a detective film, so I wrote detective as well, just to, not confuse or complicate them. I'm now going to take you through the feedback that I got. This is the first one. It's from John Bennett, who's 39. He is a family friend of mine. For the first question, he said he expected good-looking woman, an evil man, a relationship between a man and a woman. And then for question 2, he said he expects money, alcohol, cars, weapons, and poker games for the prop. He ticked the first box for question 3, stating that he expected a simple and easy to understand storyline. For question 4, he said that he expected the film to be set in a big city. And then for his comments at the bottom on question 5, he wrote, I don't really watch them, but I imagine them to be a bit scary at times with a good storyline that keeps you engaged. This next one is from a close friend of mine called Harry Nichols, who is 17 years old. She said that she expected a femme fatale, detectives, police officers, and intelligent men and women as characters. Question 2, she said guns, cars, computers, weapons, and whiskey for props. Question 3, she ticked the fairly simple with a few twists here and there that she expects the storyline to be. Question 4, she ticked a small town or village as to where she expects the film to be set. For her comments at the bottom, for question 5, she wrote, I like film noirs that include some sort of betrayal. I like the femme fatale to be teasing and manipulating. I love it to be all a mystery. This one is from Ryan Batty, who is 19 years old. For question 1, he wrote, male detective, serious characters, sexy women which are good looking, and a bad guy and a good guy for the characters. For question 2, he wrote guns, briefcase, alcohol, money, suits, expensive watches and jewellery, revealing dresses and cars for the type of props that he expects. For number 3, he stated fairly simple with a few twists here and there for the type of storyline. For question 4, he expected the film to be set in a big city. Question 5, he commented saying, I like detective films to be intense all the way through and that leaves me thinking about it towards the end. I love a good mysterious plot. Okay, this one is from my mum called Jackie Broadhouse, who is 51. For question 1, she wrote villains, seductive women, detectives and police for the type of characters she expects. For question 2, she wrote guns, weapons, dimly lit rooms and cars for the sort of props that she expects. Number 3, she ticked fairly simple with a few twists here and there for the type of storyline. For number 4, she wrote a small village or town as to where she expects the film to be set. She also wrote aside that a small town or village would be more dark and sinister. For question 5, she commented saying, love the storyline and trying to work out the ending as to what interests her in detective films. This is feedback from my dad, who is called Richard Broadhouse and he's 54 years old. And for question 1, he said, suspicious looking characters, rough appearance and sly personalities. For question 2, he said guns, knives, fast cars, trilby hats, long coats, briefcases, glamorous, sexy women as to what props he expects. What sort of storyline he expects is quite complicated, with having to watch it a few times. He expects the film to be set in a big city. And for number 5, he wrote as his comment, they are moody, dark films with intriguing storylines. Okay, this one is from Victoria Jopp, who is a family friend of mine. She's 39 years old. For the first question, she wrote, females seductive and good looking, and males intelligent police officers, as to what sort of character she expects. For number 2, she wrote, for the props that she expects, guns, lots of blood, paperwork, filing cabinets, briefcases, and old-fashioned telephones. For number 3, she ticked fairly simple with a few twists here and there as to what she expects the storyline to be. For number 4, she ticked a small town or village as to where she expects the film to be set. For number 5, she wrote for her comment, I like them in a small town, it's more mysterious. I also like a love interest between two characters. Okay, so this is feedback from Denise Langston, who is 53 years old. She's also a family friend of mine. Question number 1, she said, sexy females, mysterious and intelligent males. Question 2, she wrote fast cars, males wearing suits and hats, money, drugs, and cigars and cigarettes for the props. For number 3, she wrote fairly simple with a few twists here and there as to what sort of storyline she expects. Number 4, she wrote a big city as to what sort of setting she expects it to be. And for number 5, her comment was, I like my detective films to be set in a big city, somewhere like America, Hollywood. I love watching them and being puzzled throughout, but the storyline piecing together in the end. Okay, this one is from Rosie Vega, a friend of mine who is 17 years old. Question 1, she said, detective, femme fatale, other detectives, maybe a good and a bad guy, as to what sort of character she expects. Number 2, she wrote weapons, guns, hats, suits, briefcases, cigarettes, cigars, lamps in the streets, and typewriters, as to what sort of props she expects. For number 3, she ticked quite complicated, have to watch it a few times, as to what she expects the storyline to be like. Question 4, she said a small town or village, as to where she expects the film to be set. Question 5, she commented saying, I like a film noir to be mysterious with dark settings and low shadowed lighting. I like there to be a big action-filled scene where someone dies. Okay, this one is from Olivia Joy, who is 18 years old. She's also a friend of mine. For question 1, she answered saying, an intelligent male detective, a fierce female who dominates the film, and a nerdy guy who finds out everything, as to what sort of characters she expects. Question number 2, she said, lots of different weapons, ties, suits on the men, jewellery, gowns, and red lipstick for the women. This was for what sort of props she expects to see. Question 3, she said, fairly simple with a few twists here and there as to what sort of storyline she likes. Question 4, she said, a small town or village as to where she expects the film to be set. Question 5, she commented saying, I like good music that builds up suspense in the scenes. I think good music / soundtracks complete a film noir and detective films. Okay, and this one is from Ellen Bennett, who is 37, who is a family friend of mine. Question 1, she said, male detective, maybe a woman detective as well, as to what sort of characters she expects. Question 2, she said, guns, cars, whiskey, alcohol, paperwork, and phones, as to what type of props she expects to see. Question 3, she ticked simple and easy to understand, as to what sort of storyline she likes. Question 4, she said, a small town or village, as to where she expects the film to be set. And for question 5, she commented saying, I expect there to be a relationship or love interest between a male and female character. I also expect a gun scene where someone is shot. Also, I like in detective scenes where they show a crime scene of someone dead and then show the detective finding out what happened to them and piecing it all together.